and welcome everyone. Welcome to OzByDrone. I'm Greg and
I'm Grumpy.
hang on, let's do that again. I'm Greg.
And I'm Mr. Grumpy.
I'm Mr. Grump. Yeah, Mr. Grump, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Let me turn down the there we go. I heard that twice. Okay. I'm doing pretty good. Just running a day late and a dollar short as usual.
Yeah. Had a good week though. In fact, I've had a good couple of weeks. It's been great not doing the regular show stuff. And then what date are we on today? The 8th.
The 8th, yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, it's kind of nice not having to work on the show a little bit. So, it was something different. I'm trying to get logged into the titler, it was restful, to say the least.
Yeah. What did you do over the Christmas period and New Year period? Anything interesting?
No, not really. Just family was over Christmas Eve. We did our presents there, and come New Year's Eve, I was asleep by 8 o'clock in the evening, which for me is really early.
Mm-hmm.
So, I didn't do anything. We just kind of kicked back, chilled out, and I've been doing some stuff around the house, getting some things, done like that, and just taking it easy.
Okay. Happy days, and I've been enjoying it myself. Just look, in Australia, it was the day after you lot, of course, so that meant it was Christmas Day and New Year's Day, and I wasn't going to do a show on those days. I just needed to relax, and I'm glad I did.
Right. Yeah.
So we're still in January. This is the summer season. Of course, it is summer in Australia at the moment, and we just take it easy. We've still got some news for you. We're going to go through that in a short while. We're going to invite anyone who wants to come in. Lloyd, if you could do me a favour and throw the old rendezvous link in the chat when you got a moment, that would be wonderful.
We'll do that right now.
So anyone who wants to come in is welcome to do that. I had a message in our Discord yesterday of possibly a live cross from someone. Now, I can't even remember who it was that said they were going to do that. If that's you, put a message in the chat, because I haven't got the regular RTMP thing up. I'll do something else for you. We can make it happen, but just, Lloyd, let me know if someone tells you they want to send us some video.
All right. Okay. Good. I will.
Now, being a single one-man show today, I've got to go over and look over here to press that button and say it's now time for the news.
The news.
And as always, OzByDrone News is brought to you by AirData UAV. Is your drone healthy, or is it about to give you a surprise on your next mission? Don't wait to find out. Discover under-the-hood information and review the early signs of problems before you take off again. Use the discount code OzByDrone20 to get a 20% discount. There is a link in the description. Now, am I doing well considering I don't have a producer here today?
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah. It would be nice if the AirData UAV would work to tell you when you forget to plug something in.
Okay, do you want to explain that?
Yeah. So, for those that are watching, I use headsets that are plugged into my speaker, and you guys know I've been working on audio issues and trying to get that all straightened out. So, I get in here, everything's set up perfect, but I can't hear Greg, and I'm sitting there and I'm checking this, checking that, switching out what it's going to be, trying to get it back to where it was. I even logged out of Rendezvous and back in, it still wasn't working. And I just happened to look down at my lap, and this was unplugged. So that's why I couldn't hear Greg. I had the headsets in. So, it would have been nice if AirData UAV would have told me that.
Yeah. Of course, it's, as you say, it's often a short between the headsets.
It was this time for sure.
Okay.
Definitely a short between the headsets. Okay.
And guess what, guys? We've got Gary Yowie P51 who's just joining in on Rendezvous. Except, Gary, I don't know if you can hear me. I've got the old black screen of death from you, and I've got nothing other than the black screen. So I'm going to disconnect you and see if you try and come back in, if that works. We'll see how that goes with Gary in a couple of minutes. In the meantime, let's get started with our first news story, and it would be, see, this is where I've got to go and be really, really multi-talented and all sorts of stuff. So the first story is powered by Verizon, and I used to work for Verizon some time ago, but Verizon, this particular drone was made for mapping and moduling and features obstacle avoidance in every direction, 4K video, and some pretty good flight time. Let's have a look at the story.
Okay.
Now, this brings a lot of questions. Verizon is selling a 4G LTE connected drone. Now, why would you want to fly controlling from, let's say, from your house and flying the drone in New York? Because that's what you can do with it.
Right. Yeah. I don't know why I know that Verizon bought out one of the other big companies here in the States, and I can't remember which one it was. And I think it was so they could get some of their sub 4G lines. There was a certain way that this company was running their 4G LTE. And the only reason I know this because a friend of both mine and Grant, who's in the chat, had worked for him. And when he was there when they took over. So, but yeah, I actually pre-looked at this story and I decided, hey, this is a nice looking drone. It's kind of cool looking, different, you know. It looks like the camera will actually point upwards, you know, rather than just straight. It looks like it'll also do a, you know, about just past, you know, just above the horizon anyway. So it points upwards. So I decided, it says click here to pre-order. So I did. I clicked there to pre-order, and then I went through and read all the information and everything, and I looked at the price, and I thought, I don't really need that.
I was waiting for the price tag.
4,000 American dollars.
Okay. Another kidney drone.
Yes. And I thought, you know, for what it does, I don't think $4,000 is in my budget for a drone right now.
Yeah, I can understand why.
I mean, it's a naffy parrot, for God's sakes.
But having said that, I guess the comment is, you know, there are good and valid reasons for LTE connected aircraft. I can see that. But they comment that this is a retail product, not a commercial or an industrial product. And the question is, if you're not going to be using it in that market, is it the right kind of place that they're trying to target it at anyway? Sure, it's got a big price tag, but, you know, we've had enough controversy about beyond visual line of sight.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. Let's go to our second story, which is...
Oh, and I just want to make a quick comment.
Yeah.
I couldn't find my grumpy vlogger hat. I grabbed the first hat on the list, and just nothing meant to be said. I just grabbed the first one because I get this weird looking hair and green screen, you know. So,
by the way, you're a little bit out of focus today, Grumps.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let me see if I can.
What's going on there?
I don't know.
Have you got autofocus on there? Do you use autofocus or manual?
I usually use autofocus, but I may have switched it.
Anyway, let's leave that for the moment and click this button, which lets us talk about drone delivery. Now, drone delivery is obviously something that we've had done to death, and as I go and switch my screens, trying to do everything on one monitor, this story is about drone.
I was asking about that last drone. Would it work in Australia?
Yeah, you could fly it. Look, here's an interesting question, regulatory question.
Right.
Can you fly a drone and pilot it from one country and have the aircraft in the air in another country? And where does that sit from a regulatory perspective?
I don't know.
Someone who it's not illegal to turn a drone on. Here we go. Press the buttons.
Right.
Da-da-da. And someone who's got a remote control in another country. There's no person in Australia flying beyond visual line of sight. Interesting question.
But then we come up to the problem about being beyond visual line of sight and being in that country. Does that country allow it?
Does it really matter? Because there's no person within the jurisdiction of the country where the aircraft is piloting it or controlling it or commanding it.
That's true.
Yeah. Interesting question. Well, let's move on to our next story. And apologies if I'm a little bit disjointed with some of the stories. Normally, I prepare out my text and my messaging about everything I'm going to say. This is not out of focus. I think low resolution and quality. Yeah, could be. Let's move on with this one. So an unmanned drone is set to start making drone deliveries from controlled airspace in Edmonton with a route that goes from the Edmonton International Airport to a location in Leduc, Alta, wherever that is, Leduc. Anyway, 7 times per day. Let's go and press a button or two and check out this story. Doink, doink.
The drone actually flies autonomously, so it's actually programmed with the route right on board it. And once we activate it and tell it to go, we're really hands off. But we do have 3 staff on site. Part of the safety requirement is to ensure that there's no conflicting air traffic or ground traffic around the route. We're flying from here at the AOF facility across to Leduc County at Memorial Park. The drone's going to operate 7 times a day in each direction, Monday to Friday, to start with.
It's a historical event. This is the first time that we've been thrilled to be part of something happening here where we've seen a drone take off from an airport. And it's the beginning of an extension of the supply chain and logistics, going from manned to unmanned in airspace that's controlled. It's an amazing time. We see this as an extension of our own logistics supply chain. So as you've seen today with the floods in BC and these other areas, when roads and other areas you can't get to places, the drone is another way to bring goods and services out to remote communities.
You know, the more immediate opportunity certainly is the more remote communities, and I think there's a real need in some of those communities for, think about medical supplies, whether it be PPE, it could be swabs, it could be medicines, it could be equipment that is very difficult to get to.
So what do we think of that? Oh, we've got Gary on. I'll let you talk about it and I'll see if I can get Gary on the screen. What do you think?
Well, I think first off, we got a story coming up here in a little bit about another type of drone. And I personally think that this drone is, and any of these delivery drones are really too small to be of any, they'd have to fly. I mean, saw the size of that box. You could carry 10 times the amount on a helicopter than you could on those drones. I mean, I'm sort of like Ken, and I just don't see, to me, it's a good thing. It's great. It's wonderful that they're doing this, but I don't see it's practical. It's too small for they'd have to be flying, 100 drones a day, just sending out because they can't carry enough payload. And I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary. We've got Gary on the screen. Hey, how you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm spectacular. Look, we'll interrupt our news for our special guest at the moment. What are you doing? Where are you today? Are you flying or what's going on?
Oh, I was just going to ask you if you wanted a few aerial shots from up in this area up here where I am at the moment.
Yeah, where are you?
I'm up at Hill End.
Oh, okay. Out in the middle of nowhere.
Just about. Yeah, between Bathurst and Mudgee.
Okay. Yeah, look, let's do that. Absolutely. What are you flying today?
I just fly on the old Bixler that I normally fly.
Okay.
but it's going to be pretty rough, I think. They, last night we had a huge storm up here, or probably about 3 storms all in one.
Okay.
And the creek's running a banker, and it's coming over again. They reckon this afternoon we're going to get more thunderstorms. So it's sort of getting very overcast, and it's quite warm at the moment. But the wind's getting up again now.
Okay. So, yeah, I'd love to have you come up and get in the sky. While you're doing that, I'm going to go and throw something up on the screen in a couple of minutes, and just to show our non-Aussie viewers what is Hill End. I've just quickly done a quick little Google and got something that I can throw over there in a moment. But so, yeah, you want to get it up in the air, and I'll put that up in the screen in a moment as well.
Okay, yeah, I sort of, I'm still not, I haven't played with this thing for over a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And I just clicked off YouTube. Can I still hear you on this rendezvous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll just leave it on rendezvous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the best way. That's the best way.
So if I activate the camera in the plane, it'll come up on my screen here?
I don't know. We will find out in a couple of moments. Give it a go. But while you're doing that, while you're playing with that, let me throw this up on the screen. And apologies, I wasn't planning on necessarily having something like this up, so it's not pretty at the moment. But Hill End is certainly in the middle of nowhere, but certainly some beautiful countryside. And it's a place that's inspired painters and all sorts of other people to do all sorts of things. So there we go, some beautiful old pubs there. There we go, another nice pub there. I mean, come on, it's Australia. We've got to have at least half a dozen pubs.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, there's only one pub in Hill End.
Well, we can imagine.
There used to be 22.
Yeah, well. But the rest of the pubs are now B&Bs, but they've still got a lot of the buildings there, yeah?
Well, it's still nice. There's a nice pub there, but there's a lot of old buildings. There's Hill End and then the Safala. We're sort of halfway between the two.
Okay.
There's a big, they've just built a big wind farm out here on the Crudine Ridge. It's called the Crudine Ridge Wind Farm.
Okay.
Just over from us here. It's probably about 5 k's across from us here.
Okay.
But
So we've got your camera up on screen. Are you able to switch that now in rendezvous to your bird camera, or what do we got there?
just hang on, I'll get it all together.
Okay.
Just do another news item and I'll get it all together.
I'll tell you what might be even more funny is to say, Grumpy, tell me a joke.
Are you kidding? I don't have a joke for today.
Come on, we've got the new bot.
Yeah, I know, but I don't have that turned on.
Well, I'm used to you not having things turned on, so that's all right.
Yeah. Hello, Chris Hope. How you doing?
I'm just going to mute our friend over there, Gary, and we'll go to another news story. So let's do that now, and I'll press that button and that button. And we're going to have a look at the remote doctor. Or at least that's the title of the story, and I've got too many windows open, and it's really annoying at the moment. Where's the window that actually had... See, that's what happens when you don't have a producer. Grumpy, can you read out what's the next story is about?
Yeah, let me... I usually on this channel. All right. I hope I hid the right one. Okay. What is the next story? Special delivery drones inside bringing a doctor into your house. I'll say. So...
There we go. Special delivery. Drones are bringing the doctor inside your home. In Cincinnati, some drones have the capability to deliver packages to a front door, but technology has limitations, so it's most frequently used outdoors. Now, a team of scientists is working on a first-of-a-kind solution that could bring healthcare delivery closer than ever before. You might have heard them buzz or seen them overhead, but just imagine these robots going into your house on a special medical mission. Let's have a look.
The pandemic has made takeout food, groceries, and prescription deliveries a regular, everyday thing. Well, now the next thing is headed our way. Instead of people, drones have the capability to deliver packages to your front door. And now a team of scientists is working on using them for medicine. Ursula Perry with a first-of-its-kind solution that could bring healthcare delivery closer than ever before.
You might have heard them buzz or seen them overhead, but imagine these robots on a special medical mission.
We are building telehealth drone that will have the ability to go inside people's homes.
You heard right, inside the home, something that no one has been able to accomplish before.
That's very, very challenging from technology point of view, because once you go inside people's homes, you lose connection with the GPS.
The University of Cincinnati engineers are designing and testing special sensors that would allow the drones to maneuver through a front door into a patient's living room carrying a tablet or smartphone. Patients would connect with a doctor for a telehealth appointment and access a special medical kit attached to the drone so they can measure and transmit health information.
We'll be able to get a read on their heart rate. We'll be able to know what is their oxygen levels in their body.
It's going to let older people stay at home for longer time, more independently.
Okay.
Landing a drone safely.
The idea, I think, behind this is, you know, for people my age, you know, and how many people my age really know how to turn on an iPad, or older than me, turn on an iPad and do all that stuff that they're required, you know, because basically it's, you know, why would you need them to bring a drone into your house? If you knew how to operate an iPad, you'd probably already have one.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'll comment a little bit more on that in a second. Just to let you know, Gary, we're not getting your camera in today. It's not coming up. I'm just getting a black screen whenever you switch over. So looks like we're not going to have it happen today. I don't know if you've got someone with you that can briefly point the Rendezvous handheld camera up to your bird. So go and take off anyway, have a fly, and if someone's with you, we'll still get a quick little glimpse of your flight today. Does that sound like a plan? Whoops, I've got to unmute Gary. That might help. Say again.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, well, I can't get the camera going on the plane on this Rendezvous for some reason. I can do it on Discord. But this one doesn't seem to have a forward and back camera. It's just got a forward camera, and that's it. And I'm just working off the laptop here with a camera on the laptop.
Yeah. Not much we can do about it today without interrupting the show. And, you know, if I knew you were going to fly today, I would have possibly tried to... Was it you that said you were going to fly in Discord? Was that you?
Yeah.
It was you?
No, not on Discord. I wasn't, no.
Oh, okay. Look, do this for me. I'll tell you what, do me a favour. Go and see if you can get yourself up on Discord live in there, and I might try and do something even more complicated.
All right. Okay.
See how we go. Yeah, I can hear you. Just get your camera up in Discord, and I'll see if I can get it from Discord into the show. Talk about complicated.
Okay. We'll give it a go. Otherwise, just leave it.
I'll let you play and I'll mute you for a while. We'll keep on chatting over here. So that bird getting an aircraft into your home, what do you reckon?
I mean, the idea is the way he presents it is, you know, it's for seniors like myself who are going to, you know, possibly be looking at a nursing home or, you know, facility like that. And I just think it's let's put it to the 70, 80-year-old people that are really in need of something like that. I think it's really beyond the average everyday person's capabilities. I mean, if they could operate an iPad, they'd already have one. They wouldn't need the flipping drone to bring them the iPad. And if all it's going to do is bring them some medicine, well, most pharmacies home deliver.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to imagine, Lloyd, if you weren't a drone knowledgeable person and you called the doctor and the next thing, what's this damn thing doing outside my door?
And that would be it. I mean, that's exactly what would happen. Boy, we're getting hit by the trolls today. So
Oh, okay. If any of the moderators are out there, you can take care of them, I'm sure.
Got them. We've been getting them.
Okay,
So.
Good to hear. So let's move to our next story, which is this one. And we go from a medical delivery to a shocking delivery. And again, I've got to take it a little bit easy here today. A man in Sweden is alive today, partly thanks to an autonomous drone. The 71-year-old suffered a heart attack while shoveling snow. Let's go and check this one out. Shocking story. This one's similar to the other story, but even more impressive just by the nature that you've got the airport and air traffic control integration.
Yeah.
And thinking about it from a bigger perspective, this one's very impressive. I mean, the other one was at an airport as well. It just, I don't know.
Yeah, I think their purpose was, I think this makes a little more sense. You know? And I mean, that's assuming somebody who called 911 is actually not the person having the heart attack.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to defibrillate yourself when you're, you know.
So, I mean, we've all heard about the benefits of AEDs, and I think this is one of the good use cases for drones. It's not something that's going to happen every couple of days, delivering tube socks, the famous one that we've all heard about, right? So no one's going to be waiting for the drone to come by at a certain time on their scheduled route.
And it can get there before the ambulance does. And, you know, I can see where this is a little more practical.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it makes a little more sense, you know, for what it, you know, for what it does. I mean, like I said, the other one about, yeah.
Yeah. Well, sorry. I'm doing my job. Got to add the fun and games and levity. Levity, getting up in the air. Sorry. No, that one didn't pass muster. Okay.
There's something there too. In the UK, they have AED points all over, so no need for that. And that's good if they have that. I know here in Muskogee, Oklahoma, we don't have anything like that, you know.
And again, you know, if I compare that to Australia, AED points in public centres and so forth, yeah, absolutely. But in the home, which might be, you know, a certain distance away from a place where you can get one,
right.
No. Yeah. Anyway, we've got one more story, then we're going to get to halfway point, and we'll see if anyone else wants to come in. Let's go and press the magic button. We seem to have a medical kind of theme, but this one is not medical. Dan Holliday runs Grizzly Tree Experts and ClimbingArborist.com. Recently, his skills were called on to retrieve, well, wait and find out. Let me put it up on the screen for you. And we'll get that shot, and then that one, and that one. Uh-oh.
Alright, so first flight with a drone lasted about 30 seconds, minutes tops. And it's right there. Don't know what we're gonna do.
So this little young pilot has had her first flight with the drone, and look where it's ended up.
I said, where's the drone? then crash into the tree. Again says, we're gonna go rescue the drone.
Can you believe it? Look.
So we'll leave that there and let people go and watch this at their leisure, because there is more to that. But go and have a look. The link's in the description for all of our news stories, as always. So go and check that out. But it was just a cute story, and certainly I like the alarm at the beginning and the line pointing to the tree branches. Yep. What's the worst situation you've had, Grumps?
I've only had one, and it was when I was flying the Spark, and I was trying to do, like, I forget who it is that's famous for doing those backwards flying videos, and I've been watching him show how to do it. So I was trying to do it. Instead of actually paying attention, I was looking down at my monitor, and doing that. And as I go through, all of a sudden I hear something that sounds like a weed eater in trees. And there's a tree behind me, and I wasn't, paying attention. And so I stopped. I just let go. I turned around, and it wasn't that high up because, my line of sight is about the extent of my arm. So anything beyond that, I can't see anyway. So it wasn't that high up because I just brought it back up over behind me. And I stopped. I eased it forward, eased it down, eased it forward until I got out of the mess and got it down where I could grab it. And then I actually flew it back around in front of the camera that I was videotaping with, because I had another camera set up. And you could still see the green stuff stuck in the props, the leaves.
Yeah. So while you
immediately went out and bought me a Mavic Air Original, because it had rear sensors.
Okay. Just a quick little interlude. I just opened my Discord because I was going to try and get Gary up. Just so you know, Gary, we can't hear you at the moment. I can see your lights on in Discord, but I'm not getting vision from your camera. It's just a black screen, which is exactly the same as what I was getting in Rendezvous. So
right.
I'd love to see you fly today, but I don't think it's going to happen. So
yeah,
I'll get out of that that Discord session, and we'll continue the show. But before I do anything, I really do need to say, now obviously this is some sort of police academy style music. Now we've got the Fearless Drone Academy, and they're great sponsors and supporters of OzByDrone as well. Now please do go and have a look in the description for the video. We've got a discount code for you there. If you're afraid to get up in the air, then check out the Fearless Drone Academy. They're the ones to go and check it out.
Yeah.
There we go.
At least you remembered their name this time. I noticed you put it in the notes this week as well. So in case you couldn't remember, I could look at it. Oh, well, it's in the run sheet, right?
It's in the run sheet. Yeah, I know. But I also threw it on the Post-it note, including which button to press for the Academy music.
There you go. All right.
Okay. Let's go on to the next story now. And it would be this one. We'll throw that on the screen first, and I'll press this button over here and get that on the screen. And certainly this is some beautiful footage as I get my notes back on the screen. This beautiful aerial footage takes you above a winding country road and geometric fields under the setting autumn sun. I'll give you some more information as we play this out.
That is some gorgeous footage.
So this one was actually found from a YouTube channel called SWNS. And again, no other information about it other than it's Bridgehampton is the location. And their comment says, this beautiful footage takes you along a winding country road and geometric fields under the setting autumn sun. I don't have any more information. I wish I did.
Yeah, you know, when I first looked at this, that middle field right there, with all the, you know, the bare field with, I was trying to figure out, I thought it said something like Camp Utah or something. What are they trying to spell out? And then I realized this is obviously a horse farm, and those are probably setups for jumping, for horse jumping. So, and it's probably a training farm for horses that do, you know, different types of horse jumping. But it looks like they're trying to spell something out in that blank field.
Possibly.
I realized.
Yeah. But I won't play the rest of it because, like always, I encourage everyone to go to the original video. We don't want to replace someone else's work. We do want to point to it and go and have a look at that at your leisure. Now, the next one we've got over here would be this one.
This one, yes.
Now, this one is a story about Boeing and the MQ-25. Let me again get my notes up in front of me. This unmanned aircraft will not undergo flight testing from the carrier quite yet, but it has certainly gone aboard a carrier for the first time, and that's the story that we found out of the drive. Let's have a look. Now, this one had some music in it that I didn't have rights to use, so let me see. Right. What can I put in over the top of it? No. It needs to be more military, you know, something like... That's the one.
There you go. That's the one right there.
So again, the story here is it's getting on board a carrier for the first time. It's not yet ready for unmanned flight from the carrier, but they want to make sure that the carrier down below is okay and certainly going to be balanced, and the aircraft itself, they're checking out to make sure it's not going to fall off the deck, I would assume.
Well, yeah. They have to do, you know, weight and balance testing and all that stuff on a carrier when they introduce new aircraft. Not that I would know because I was never on a carrier, but that's my understanding.
Yeah.
And earlier they were talking about, you know, transporting equipment, and on one of the earlier stories that we had, you know, and they're talking about let's see. Oh, the delivery package sky above Edmonton, I think was it was the one. And where they were launching it from an airport and they were delivering a box of something, you know, swabs or whatever. To me, it was too small of an aircraft. They needed one like the MQ-25 because look at the payload on that sucker.
Okay.
I mean, that is a drone I can see doing deliveries, you know, from point to point, you know.
Yeah.
It's not practical because those things are about, I don't know, $150 million a piece or something like that, or, you know.
And if you had one pair of tube socks per minute, you'd still be running behind for a long time.
That's right. Well, I wasn't thinking. I was thinking of what they were trying to sell in that other thing, you know, delivering whatever it was they were trying to deliver. It wasn't tube socks, but it's just like, it wasn't practical. Swabs or whatever it was, you know, just not practical.
Yeah.
But that drone, you could probably put a good enough payload to resupply a hospital pretty quickly.
Yeah. And speaking of drone delivery, it's all the talk, and, you know, the number of stories we get with this kind of topic. We've got another one. Wing, we've heard about them before.
Yes.
Well, there's something interesting about what they're doing and how they're doing their tech.
We understand that this is something new.
It's the next generation of shopping, and a company called Wing is flying into Frisco and Little Elm.
This isn't a demonstration. This is going to be regular business hours, you know, 9 to 5, 5 days a week.
Within months, these drones fitted with 14 propellers will deliver store items to your home. You just have to live within 4 miles of a Wing site like this one, just north of the...
And I guess the reason why I brought this one up, we've seen so many Wing videos before, but just having a look at their QR code tech that they've got on their launch locations was interesting just to have a look at. But I tell you what, what's missing from this video?
It seems interesting. Yeah. My interest is piqued.
Jared,
I don't know.
Of a participating Walgreens off El Dorado in Little Elm. These drones can carry up to 3.3 pounds.
3 pounds, I don't know. Simple stuff like Band-Aids would be nice.
I'll show you in just a minute.
One of our most popular items is a roasted chicken.
Known to deliver from coffee to COVID tests, Frisco and Little Elm were first chosen because of their commitments to innovation, large open areas, and single-family homes. Test flights will start in a week.
That's it right there, no trees.
In several months. The big question.
No, what's missing?
Take off in Texas.
Horses?
The sound of the engine.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, let's turn that off. But all jokes aside, that is the biggest problem that Wing had when they were certainly testing in Australia. It was,
right.
Noise complaints from everyone. Those things are not quiet. There is no simple answer to that. They have tried some different propellers to reduce the noise. I'd be curious to find out how people are finding them in the US. What have you heard anything, Lloyd, or is there anything in your media over there?
No, I haven't heard anything about it. This was the first time I'd seen something. I think I picked up a little something about it here a couple weeks ago, but I haven't heard what the results are or how people feel about it. I think everybody like me is just like, it's a lot of fluff with very little filling. It's
at the end of the day, though, what is Wing's strategy with what they're doing? Because what they're doing is not a scalable business model. They don't really want to be, flying individual packages from point A to point B. Google is all about software. They want to build this platform. They want to own the UTM. They want to control the airspace. Right. And every time you take off, they want to be able to charge some money.
Yeah,
that's what they want.
Pay Google for the airspace. Yeah. Remote ID, exactly.
Yeah.
And with remote ID, they will know that you have taken off and you are using their airspace. So,
that's an interesting point as well. I've been watching the race day quads. Court case. Have you seen much about that one yourself?
I just not lately. I heard that it's getting pretty. That it's moving through the courts, or it's getting ready to do some. I just picked up a little bit. I was half listening to Ken Heron show last night, and they mentioned it.
Yeah.
And
so, in a nutshell, my understanding, they've got oral arguments on both sides, but that have been, they've had their points on both sides. From what I understand, and I'll just close this door because there's a bit of noise out there. From what I understand, the FAA's contention is that because it's not transmitting PII, personally identifiable data, therefore it's not an infringement. So it might be a serial number or an identifying number of an aircraft, but there's no mapping of that number to you as an individual. And that's the way they're trying to get out of it. But there's a big difference.
That's not what they're proposed initially.
Well, it's what they're arguing in court. But here's the question, right? If you compare that to license plates as what they try to say, it's just like a license plate. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
License plate has got short distance. License plate has visual line of sight. License plate has limitations on range, which are far below what you would expect to get out of remote ID.
Yeah, exactly.
And the second thing is a license plate doesn't, in addition, transmit and broadcast the location of a person other than the aircraft.
Yeah, I think our registration numbers that we have on the side of our aircraft that we were required to put in a place where they can be seen properly, rather than under the battery like we did initially. Now they've got to be exposed so that when they go over and they kick it in it crashes and they kick it, they can turn it over and see that, oh, okay, that's not a bomb. It's, we can see it. I assumed that registration number would be our license plate because it's registered to us. You know, they see that number, they look it up, okay, you know. And
I guess the difference is really proactive versus reactive. If we for a minute we put aside the whole UTM and all of that stuff, pretend that's not there. Proactive versus reactive, they're trying to claim it's for safety. If it's for safety, how many drones have had a safety incident where there was no registration on the side of it that, you know, could have been prevented by having remote ID?
Yeah.
Donuts.
Yeah.
Now,
exactly, zero.
The real motivation for remote ID and all of those kind of things is, you know, what we've just spoken about a minute ago, Google. The thing that RDQ didn't mention, that it sends the pilot location, they could have and should have mentioned that. And I think they probably will I don't think that's the end of their oral arguments, or at least I hope it's not. But certainly something for us to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's move to our next story, and that would be this one. And as I press that button, the title is Slaughterbots. Now, this is a much bigger video than we're going to have time to have a look at today. I'll play just a little bit at the beginning.
We're live with Brett Hauer on the line from where police are now confirming a drive-by shooting at a polling station.
They're all in a line, shot in the head just where they stood. The whole line is dead.
The line is dead?
Looks like some voters had children with them. All spared, not even hurt.
Brett, local PD are saying a suspicious device may have been discovered. Could this be slaughterbots?
No parts on the ground. I can see I haven't heard any or heard of any airborne devices. I see police. I see some officers deploying camouflage masks right now. We're on the move. Police are interested in an abandoned vehicle. They're heavily camouflaged now. Wait, there's
So this is obviously a dramatization designed to put fear into the general public about drones, or what is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen, I'm just going to stop the video there and come back to us and get you to go and have a look at that if you're interested in your own time. It's a much longer video. It's 5 minutes 27 long. But in the title of the video that was downloaded, it's actually got a line of computer code. If human, and then a line going to kill, and then brackets with a function sign. First comment from me is that, you know, any kind of weapon that's got artificial intelligence in there, we don't want to be going there at the best of times unless it's military. And then in a military setting, you know, they're already doing it. I mean, we'd be stupid to think that they don't have any kind of AI in the loop, but they've also got overrides and switches to be able to bypass that.
Yeah, I was Northside Hawk Drone and Tech is kind of like what he just put. It does seem a little bit like that was out of a sci-fi. I was going to say, God, I hope this was a sci-fi movie or some trailer because, yeah. And the military might have something like that, but they don't just randomly spray, you know. And I will say this much, because they do have swarm drones and different types of stuff, but what they have is they also have observation command posts, pilots in charge that are overseeing the AI, you know.
This is what it's got at the end. This is a work of fiction, but the threat of lethal weapons is real.
Positive future vision at the end of this film is based on a recent position of the International Committee of Red Cross. The United Nations will meet in Geneva in the upcoming. I mean, yeah, I think civilian use of that, it shouldn't be done, but you know, it's just some more stuff that they're going to sit there and whinge about and whine about and carry on about, and nothing's going to make any difference because the bad guys are still going to do it. They're doing it now. The bad guys are using drones to take out oppositions in certain countries, not here in the United States, obviously, but in third world countries, they've been used to take out the opposition, and they're going to continue to do that. And the Geneva Convention, I mean,
let me ask you, let me break this down into a few bits, and I'm curious to get the audience's reaction to this as well. First question: in a non-civilian setting, we already have weaponized drones, so that's already a given.
Right.
Then the next question is, assuming we're okay with that, and hypothetically we are because we've already elected the governments that are doing it, but assuming we're okay with that, when does the use of drone equipment become uncomfortable for us in a military setting? And again, just speaking military for a minute. So is it bad because there's more drones? Right. So if you've got 100 drones going and going after a single bad guy, hypothetically, does that make it bad? That's a technique to avoid interception or to make sure that you get your target. So does that make it bad? That's a question. If we've already got it, is that in itself bad? Should it be there at all? And if the answer is no, we shouldn't have it, then what about other alternatives where people are already using weapons which are going to get more casualties that are unintended? Big questions.
Well, the whole idea behind using drones and that type of stuff was to lower the casualty count of
bystanders.
Not just the bystanders, but that, and I mean, because you still have such as that drone we just saw earlier, that what was that? The Navy one we looked at earlier.
Yeah, the MQ.
The MQ-25. The MQ-25. Yeah. Okay, that's using a standard delivery system as far as weapons goes. If you noticed on the front, it had what looked like single barrel 20 millimeter cannons on them. Okay, and it also, the payload underneath there were standard bomb racks that are used on aircraft. And yet that's an autonomous system. So they're already using that stuff. They're still going to have the exact same amount of not friendly fire, but civilian casualties using one of those as they are using, let's say, an A-10. Okay. The difference is we're not putting our pilots at risk.
And
and in war,
that might be an interesting delineation point and almost a justification, because hypothetically, if you compare, take away the military stuff for a minute, you just talk about manned aviation versus unmanned aviation. There are regulations on both sides, but they make an assumption that the person in a manned aviation aircraft doesn't want to end up crashing on the ground. So therefore, they're a little bit more safety focused, and that's why they've got, that's why we've got some of the drone regulations that we do have, because there's an acknowledgement that when it's unmanned, people may be hypothetically more reckless while they're controlling their aircraft.
Right.
Now, if you translate that to this that we're just talking about at the moment, maybe that's a justification. They're saying, hey, if you're not willing to have someone in the aircraft to ensure there's a human putting themselves at risk to get the right outcome, maybe that's the justification. I don't know.
Yeah, and this goes to the argument. I mean, think about World War I when they first introduced tanks. They could kill massive peoples in larger amounts and protect the soldiers that were inside a little easier than they could having those same guys walking around with with guns shooting people. They took, you know, it really comes down to, you know, well, war's not nice anyways, and these type of drones that the military is using right now are for that purpose, only for war. Now, as far as civilians being able to use it, that's a whole different story. I am totally, you know, I am totally opposed to civilians having access. And there, one of the comments, and I'm gonna put it up here. One of the comments is that AI drones are and has a, let's see, predatory military drones, which is like the MQ-25 Predator. They have AI in the loop and can target multiple targets at the same time. That also cuts down on inefficiency because, you know, an A-10 can carry a far superior payload, but they have to take repeated times around, or they have to be carpet bombing, and that's taking out possible civilian bystanders. So, you know, being able to target multiple drone or multiple targets, you know, it's hey, comes down to it, war's not nice, you know. And
I mean, look, let me put it this way. At the end of the day, someone's got to take responsibility for the action of engaging that equipment, right? And I think the answer is, if there's unintended consequences which haven't been authorized by your commander-in-chief and the chain of command down, someone would have to be held accountable for human errors. Then the question is, who is accountable for AI errors? Is a human accountable to pull the plug? Yeah.
And I think therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, with dealing with AI. And, you know, I guarantee you, if there ends up being unintended consequences, as you put it, civilian casualties, as they would say, I guarantee you the pilot in charge is the one who's going to get reamed, even if it was POTUS that says, I want you to hit that place right there, right now. I'm the commander in chief. You do what I say. I guarantee you the guy that's going to get brought up on the charges will be the poor little lieutenant, or maybe the staff sergeant that's sitting there with his remote control. He's going to be the guy hung out to dry. That's military protocol.
Military intelligence. Yeah, that's the one.
That's it. Military protocol is, that's the way it is. But anyways.
Let's go on to our last story now.
There we go.
We're going to go from a swarm of drones to a swarm of mosquitoes and dealing with them. And this story is certainly, it's a DJI video. It's a longer video. We're not going to play the whole thing.
In historic terms, malaria is perhaps the most important disease that mankind has ever known. It's been estimated that every second person that ever has lived on the planet died as a result of malaria. That is 52 billion people overall.
Can I just pause that there? And that is something that I would have never thought of. If you add the number of people that have died as a result of that disease, and you said every second person on the planet today was going to cark it because of that disease, if it all happened on one day, there would be certainly a lot more focus on it. And certainly, in comparison to the diseases we're currently battling, you know, it's a scary thing. And so it's not dealt with, and it's not finished. And I say this because in some of the third world countries, it's still out there, you know, particularly in the tropics. It's tragic. But anyway, let me continue.
The ones that die are mostly children below the age of 5 and pregnant women. So it is still with us, and it is still a very important disease. There's literally thousands and thousands of mosquitoes breeding here in these rice paddies, and people, the villagers, are right around it. So that means that the mosquitoes that come out of these rice paddies, they will fly to these villages, they will bite people, and as a result of that, we will have a lot of transmission of the disease. We will be working in these rice paddies and controlling mosquitoes here over this large area is obviously very difficult. And that's why we're seeking solutions through which we can do this better and can do this faster.
By helicopter, this work in Africa cannot be done. Just too expensive. By hand, too time consuming. What could fill the gap between a helicopter and hand spraying?
3 years ago, a small organization called NoLimitDrones came to us with a fantastic idea, fighting malaria in a more efficient way by using drones. For that purpose, we had to customize one of our off-the-shelf platforms called Agras MG1S. We had to integrate new mechanical pumps able to spray a biodegradable agent.
The point is that by doing that, we have a very small little film that is on the surface of the water, which prevents the larvae of the mosquito from breathing. So they suffocate and they die. It's a very simple approach. So by just flying over all these putties, spraying this biological control agent, we are hoping to really reduce the number of mosquitoes that come out of these rice fields and go out and bite these people.
So we'll leave that there, but look, that's an interesting story.
I have a concern that I'm sure that will eventually be brought up, and that's the inhumane way of suffocating the larvae of mosquitoes. I'm sure that PETA will step in at some point and, you know, giving them a hard time, because that's just a cruel and unusual way to kill out those larvae of the mosquito. It's shameless. It's just shameless genocide of mosquitoes.
I was going to say,
some knobhead is probably already thinking that. You know, I'm sorry.
I was going to go on to say, look, it's a noble effort, a noble goal. The one thing that frustrates me is that the Agras, the drone that they're specifically talking about, sells, if I remember, for about $30,000. And if that's the case, and let's assume it is for a minute, $30,000, happy days. But when people buy it, they can't move from one place to another. They're geo-locked. We're familiar with DJI's licensing to unlock a drone in a particular location. This is the reverse.
Right.
You buy the drone and it will unlock only for the country where you bought it. So if you've got a company that buys one of these in the US or Europe and they want to go and take it to Africa or somewhere else to help out with it, sorry, Dave, you can't do that. DJI don't let you. Just a little bit of an observation about a frustration that I've heard on that product.
Yeah, and I think DJI should allow the unlocking. If let's say you're a nonprofit group that does for these third world countries and you want to donate a drone and you buy it here and then you take it over there to help teach them how to use it and all that. I think DJI should look at it, maybe you have to fill out a request form, but they should unlock it, if they're going to, and they can unlock it and then geo-lock it back into the, or they may even, a group of, I forgot what you call people that kill bugs, but, a group of them might work for a nonprofit.
Pest controllers.
Pest controllers, yeah. That's not the word I was thinking of, but anyways, they're going over there, they're taking their drones, they're taking their time, their money, and they're going to do it. And they're going to train people on how to do it over there and leave their drones there. I think that, that's where DJI, of course, they will surely let them do that for a fee, You and your soundboard, I hear the mosquitoes, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Look, the reason why this is of interest to me, as you know, I'm doing some stuff with, actually, let me press this button now. Which one was it? That one. This piece of music is called The Brains Trust, and I thought that was appropriate to have while we talk about NoLimitDrones.
Yes.
And our news is also supported by NoLimitDrones. They're a wonderful company, and the interesting thing is that they're having a look at the Agras drone right now, working out how can they unlock it. But you don't have to have a $30,000 Agras drone to go and have a look at NoLimitDrones. Check the link in the description if you're flying one of many DJI aircraft They've got all sorts of stuff happening for you. They've got sales on at the moment, the license keys. If you've got a Mavic 2, you can even get a permanently rooted core board that will give you all sorts of things without ever fearing that the next software update is going to block your mods to your aircraft. So get rid of the chains, fly without the chains. Go to NoLimitDrones.com, link in the description.
Yes, yes.
Okay. That's all we've got time for. We've already gone over the hour just by a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Time flies when you're having fun. Is there anyone in the chat room that had any questions or comments of anything interesting that we want to cover before we finish?
Actually, I think I've popped them up there, and we've talked about just about yes, drone rob exterminators. Yeah, that was I was thinking of the scientists that study mosquitoes and insects. There's a term. It's like a virologist or something like that studies germs, and it's one for. There's an ologist for every friggin' thing on the face of the earth, and I know there's one. And up until 10 minutes ago, I knew what it was. Now I can't remember.
I've got a simple name. A Texan.
Pest control.
A Texan.
Texan. Yeah. Entomologist. There is an entomologist.
Entomologist. Okay.
Entomologist. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, entomologist. That's the term I was looking for. Thank you, Zedmeat and Thunderbird 6, both of you.
Okay.
But yeah, Grumpy Pest Control works too.
Grumpy Pest Control. Okay, that's all we've got time for today. We've had a little bit of fun. Like I said, this is the summer series, less high-level production. And, you know, I'm getting a little bit of practice doing what my wonderful, beautiful wife normally does. Who knows? I might get good enough to do this without her. She'd be very, very happy if I could work out how to do that.
She would, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Grumps, last words from you.
Like I always say, be kind, treat each other better than you treat yourselves. Remember, everybody matters, including poor mosquitoes.
Okay.
Later.
Now, as you just stay on the screen, just because I'm doing something else just for a moment. Right. Have you got any other last words?
Any other last words? No, I don't.
Because I just wanted to ask, why do bees have sticky hair?
Why do bees have sticky hair? I don't know why.
Because they use honeycombs. That's all I got time for. Good night. Have a great day. This is OzByDrone. See you next time. Bye-bye.